Hello, coders. Today I want to talk about an idea or a response I got the other day when I was mentoring. And I was teaching this person Python, right? And I was going through data types and control flows. And I was getting really excited about this person building applications. And I was trying to be as encouraging as possible. And I asked at the end of a session, what is it that you're going to build next? What can you do? Here are some ideas. And I was getting very excited. And this person came back and said something that blew me away, to be fair, because I've never really heard this response before. And this was, I want to understand the landscape before I build upon it. And I thought, wow. That's a lot of self-awareness, right? A lot of self-awareness. B, that's a lot of restraint. Because for me at least, with programming, I get so excited when I learn something new because I want to build upon it and I want to learn more. I want to learn more and more and more, to my detriment. I have been known, and I'm sure you've seen me on the streams in the past, where I've jumped from one bandwagon to the next, one JavaScript framework to the next, and I've tried different technologies because it's the new hotness, the new newness, and perhaps I haven't taken a step back and realized the landscape that I'm currently within and the things that are missing from my knowledge base with the current landscape that I'm on. Now, we've got to talk in the context of this person who's new to Python, and we were going through data types. We were going through the fundamentals of Python. It was a really good couple of sessions. And I know this person's abilities in terms of maths and logical thinking, and I was trying to push this person to come up with or build apps based on this person's background. But the response that came back made me feel, actually, this slowdown of learning is actually a really good thing. Because yes, there are a lot of things in this landscape that this person still doesn't know. He's aware that he doesn't know these things. Yes, you could argue that they would learn those things when you start building applications. But when you start building applications and when you start building new things and using new technologies, then there's so many different rabbit holes one can go in. And it's very easy to get totally overwhelmed by all of the information and the stuff that one needs to learn in order to do a thing in programming. When you're learning the fundamentals, it's very easy to just get completely overwhelmed by stuff. And it's very easy, therefore, to get frustrated, right? Because you've got this project in mind, perhaps, and you can't translate the project into code yet because you don't know enough code, or you don't know enough to write the various different statements and conditions. You don't know enough design patterns. You still don't understand the complexities and nuances of various different things in programming. And so when you start to build these projects that you've got, these ideas that you've got, you're just constantly hitting walls. And that's when people get turned off. And that's when people start getting frustrated and give up, right? Because this simple idea that you've got in your head is not able to be translated into code because you don't know enough at that point. So I totally get it. I totally get why people pump the brakes. for me, it's weird, right? Because I'm like, oh no, I need to know this, I need to know this, I need to know this. And yes, it has been incredibly frustrating when I've jumped into the deep end. It's very humbling because you suddenly realize that you're not as good as you thought you were. But to have that self-awareness that actually there's things that I'm yet to understand in terms of this landscape before I start building upon it, that's such a good mindset to have, as long as this doesn't deter you from actually getting out of your comfort zone. Now, there's a balance to be had here. Excuse me. Now, there's a balance to be had here, of course, because when you're in your comfort zone, you know all the things you know, right? And you could argue that being in your comfort zone is a good thing because it makes you hone down your skills, right? Because you're blinkered from knowing anything else. And so what you know incredibly well. Great. The difficulty, though, is because you're not moving outside of your comfort zone, you aren't able to transfer the skills that you currently are aware of in a different context, move them into a different context. And actually, when you start moving outside of your comfort zone, you can see where the skills that you currently are aware of can translate and transfer into various different things. And in my opinion, that actually makes you a better programmer because you're seeing the skills that you are currently are aware of in various different contexts, in different situations. It also means that you're open to failure. And that is something that is huge with programming because every bug that we face, people could claim that down as, a failure in the code, right? And so I failed to think of this bug. This issue that I'm facing is because of a lack of knowledge. It's a failing in my knowledge base. This is where a lot of people get turned off from getting out of their comfort zones because they don't like the idea of challenge or of getting uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable to progress. But in terms of this person, I don't think that's an issue. I think they're very comfortable in learning, but at a pace that is comfortable, right? It's just a case of knowing when to do the jump. And this is a challenge that everybody faces. It's an interesting challenge. Programming is one of those fields of study where you'll never know everything because it's constantly changing, and that is so exciting. It's not like other fields of study where you can know everything, right? This is such, every day I am faced with new challenges, and there's so many new technologies out there, and this can be terrifying for people, but not me. I love it. I love programming. But if you take anything away from this, it is to be aware of the landscape that you're currently in, to be aware of the edges of of the landscape, to know what your limitations are, to know what it is that you know well and what you don't know well, and also at what point do you feel comfortable building upon the landscape. And you need to take into consideration that there are multiple different types of landscapes because a landscape is going to be very different from the different industries. The healthcare landscape is very different from game development landscape, which is very different from the public sector or fintech landscapes, right? But moving from one landscape to the other gives you the opportunity to transfer your skill set. So, for example, I've worked in fintech, I've worked in e-com, I've worked in public sector, I've worked in all sorts of various different. So, if you take anything away from this ramble that I'm on, it is to be aware of the landscape that you're in, to be aware of what you know and what you don't know, see if there is any areas that you can brush up on, and know when you are comfortable enough to build upon the landscape that you're in. Take care. If you've got any questions, let me know. I've got courses, they're all on howtocodewell.net. I'll leave links to the courses in the show notes below. Take care, everyone. Speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.